Yeah, he's definitely easier than the previous boss. I would like to know if you can critical him or not, though. Soul of the Lords, okay. Yeah, okay, so I didn't give her the eyes, and her summon sign didn't show up. Okay, yeah, so that solves that. Soul of the Lords. One of the used to acquire numerous soul. Since Lord Gwyn, the first Lord of Cinder, many exalted lords have linked the first flame, and it is their very souls that have manifested themselves as defender of the flame. So that doesn't really give you any information. Other than many lords have linked the flame. Or is that supposed to be... Yeah, actually that reminds me, there was talk about that maybe the end boss of this game was yourself in Dark Souls 1, but... I mean, it was like a human type character, but the moves weren't really like attacks that you could do in Dark Souls 1. Well, I mean, the fireball, some of it was kind of, but it didn't really seem like you're fighting yourself. Not to me, anyway. What did I get for that? Like around 100,000? Okay, well, here we go, ending number 2. Drink to it. Link the first flame. Okay. No. Okay, now I'm confused. Okay, so I can link the flame, or I can summon her. What is the third ending, then? Here we go. Boom. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Why do they make you watch the credits? Okay, I understand they make you watch the credits the first time. But why the second time? You can't even, like, fast forward them or anything? Well, I'll just say this is basically the end. I think I'm just gonna go through to the start of the next to New Game Plus. But this is basically is the end of this playthrough here. Yeah, I don't... Yeah, it's a Dark Souls 3 Complainthrough. I was not I mean, in the one sense, I'm a fan of the game. Is like, I think it's worth playing, and I mean, I beat it more than once already. I'll beat it more than that too. So I mean, like, it's a good game, but just come from the standpoint of someone who's played the game, all the games in the series, and like, how is it compared to those, and how is it as an evolution to the series? In that sense, it's a tremendous disappointment, and it's really disappointing and annoying. I just, it really feels like, both, I didn't like the direction the game went in, and also just the development of it seemed kind of weak in certain areas, like the visual design of the levels seemed they just seemed like retreads and copying and pasting of way too much. Like with Dark Souls 1, you got Anor Londo and the Demon Runes, even though it doesn't look the same. I guess the Demon Runes didn't look the same, but Anor Londo is the same thing. You got Kiln of the First Flame, had that same look to it. Well, I would say especially in Anor Londo, to me that was I was unimpressed with that. And then as far as Bloodborne, like, it just seems like they took textures from Bloodborne and just put it into this game. The enemy designs were so similar to Bloodborne. I really feel that was a huge mistake. A lot of the enemies weren't really very interesting. I feel like Bloodborne was the worst enemy design in the series, and I don't know, I think maybe this has taken its place as even worse than Bloodborne. I don't know, it's hard to say. I think Bloodborne has the worst looking enemies, but they are more original. These ones may be slightly better than Bloodborne, but they're also unoriginal. So I don't know how many points I want to take off for being so unoriginal. And then the look of the Demon Runes, they look so much like the Chalice dungeons. Like, it's just pathetic. And then they got the kind of this kind of curly tree look of the whatchamacallit, the hollow camp. It remind me quite a bit of Hemlock Charnel Lane. I mean, it's not exactly, but it had a very similar look to it. The regular hollow kind of enemies have these big, long, extended arms. They wear robes. It just looks so much like a Bloodborne influence. It has the muted, dull, like, bland coloring of Bloodborne. Like, to me, Dark Souls 1 looks better than this. And Dark Souls 2 definitely looks better. Like, the game should be getting better looking. I don't know, it's just, and then the combat, I don't like the direction they went with the combat, with the sped up combat, the lack of builds, magic's garbage, strength they made way worse. It's just all a speed game now. They just turned it too much into an action game. The RPG element has been taken out so much. I feel like I think it would be too harsh to say this was like a rush job or anything like that, but if you had to pick one game that out of the series that I'd say was a rush job, even though I don't think that's fair to call it a rush job, but the game that is the most like a rush job is definitely this one. They just feel like they just copy and pasted too much of the old stuff into this game. It really ended up as a disappointment. I have to say too, now that the first DLC is out, that they put the arena behind paid DLC. I find that to be pretty crappy. After Dark Souls 2 had the arena just as part of the base game. Like, even, like, it goes beyond just being, having to pay for it yourself. It means it's excluded a portion of people. Like, whoever doesn't buy the DLC, they'll all be excluded from the arena. As far as unless there's some secret way to get to it I haven't heard of or something. But assuming that you can't play the arena without the DLC, regardless of whether you as an individual buy it, it still excludes all the people that don't buy it, so it takes away possible competition. Which I really feel that's one way the series could improve a lot, is quit trying to reduce the options for multiplayer. Like, they need to increase the options of multiplayer. Everybody should have access to the arena. Summoning should be easier. It should work over greater distances. It should be it just should be better overall. I think that's the online play is definitely a area where there could be improvement in the series. Like, without, like, pretty easy improvement. Like, obviously creating levels is difficult, but it's just like obvious ideas that could fix the online play. But anyway, I don't know, maybe things will change. I mean, opinions do change over time. Maybe something will change. I highly doubt it. Maybe I'll feel slightly different in some ways, but overall, this just feels like a disappointment that stacks nowhere near Dark Souls 1 or 2. Dark Souls 1 and 2 both stand head and shoulders above this game. Yes. Is this gonna play the cutscene? Well, that's not the cutscene I meant. I meant the intro cutscene. Well, I guess that's it. Just wanna... I guess there's nothing else. Well, there it is. My thanks.